This is Paul. Yes. A couple days ago, we went through the Encyclopedia of Everyday Law. Yes. There's a big problem with not enforcing the equal protections of the law. Yes. Now, I just told you about the fraud and forgery. Yeah. You would say that it's better for the women and children if my sons stay in Quilcene, and I would disagree with that. I don't. You cannot use forgery so that those in the judiciary and law enforcement can keep themselves from getting sued. That's a different form of abuse of power. Now, I documented today that I have over a terabyte of emails, probably 15 to 20,000 of them, and within those 15 to 20,000 emails, there's 10 to maybe 12,000 different email addresses. Now, this this court judgments that I'm wanting, yeah, I'm actually wanting to sue you. Do you understand that, Sheriff? Yeah. And you refuse to acknowledge the equal protections of the law. Now, as a man, yes, in the United States of America, I'm going to look at every man that's been discriminated against because law enforcement wanted to use technology to protect themselves from men. Now, this idea that women are the weaker sex, yes, it could be that your come to find out way, yes, is that women are just pussies. And really, you just fuck them because they are the weaker sex. But as a man, you don't have the same attraction, do you? There's very little sexual attraction to men if you are a man in a police department. Now, I've seen some of these that you've been having sex with. Yes, not very attractive. Ooch. But your thought is as long as you see the genitals of a woman, right, you'll get a hard dick and you'll come regardless of exactly how she looks. Now, listen, Sergeant, you've been fucking some of the ugliest dogs. That's why you're not afraid of women. You could just touch their nose, right? Spread their legs, pooch. And you, well, it's different with a man. There's very little sexual attraction to men if you are a man. Oh. Now, when we look at the actual identities of the protection orders, yes, in the last decade, how many judges actually protected the rights of the respondent? Because you didn't protect my rights in 2011. You arrested me, I was found not guilty, and you didn't protect my right to have my record expunged. Yeah. You didn't enforce my right to have a notice of court hearings. Yes. And then you decided that my wife, being that good Christian woman and her children, right, would have the protections, but I wouldn't. Now, for every time that I find the actual identity of a woman, yes, was abusing the judicial system because she really was not victimized, yes. She got in a fight with a man and called him a fucking dick. Pooch. He called her a cunt, and then all of a sudden the YouTube community's upset. Now, are we discriminating? Why don't we get every YouTube channel that was shut? Yes, when it was a woman and when it was a man. Now, if I went through the actual ownership of every channel, hmm how many men own YouTube accounts? Because it's an ownership. You get paid from advertisers, YouTube. Yes. And then how many in the community dislike men versus if I was a woman, I could say anything. Well, just give me every channel that's been open. Uh-oh. See, men are not attractive. They're just not. Many women are. Yeah. And when I put on there the actual Give me every account of Alphabet and the actual genders of those that have had their accounts closed that are men versus the actual accounts that have been closed because they're women. Yes, because I think a whole lot more men are discriminated against because it just, well, I'm going to sue you, Alphabet. Pooch. Okay. I'm really am going to. And as much as the employees of Alphabet dislike the idea, it's going to happen. Now, when I have. Yeah. See, it seems the community dislikes men. Now, look at here. This is a handsome couple, isn't it? Yes. Now, that man doesn't look threatening, does he? Pooh. They live life luxuriously. Now, as a man, let's say he was well-to-do, one of these multimillionaire types that attracted a very beautiful wife to himself. And then you decided to take his kids without any due process. Right. You decided that you would continue to violate his rights for the last 7 years. Then you obligate him to be homeless because you're going to serve him $400,000 worth of liability. Yes. Now, a lot of very handsome men, you'd be surprised. See, life circumstances does have an effect on the individual. Every day that I stayed in a homeless shelter really toughened me up. Every time that I had to eat at the Salvation Army, a community meal. Oh, every time that I went to a charity, when I did know that I had the right to sue you, and you decided that you would hide behind your fear as law enforcement. That's an abuse of power. You're afraid. I keep telling you that I'm going to sue you, and you keep violating the laws. You can't use forgeries. You cannot kidnap children. You cannot award dissolutions of marriage without due process to the actual spouse. Now, you wanted me to do what you said, but you're going to have to do what the law says. The law obligates you to be, it's an obligation. I know you're in a police department. And you thought that, well, we're not obligated to do what the law requires, and we can make up crimes, and we could try to make it sound like the guy is mentally ill because he's homeless, and we can continue to abuse himself because we're abusing our power because we're afraid. We're afraid that he's actually going to be able to put us in prison and sue us for everything that we own. Because you do understand the law, don't you? Every night I send you an email, local law enforcement. Every day I document lawsuits. And every day you deprive me of the equal protections of the law that both men and women should have. Pooch. Now, it's not been equal protections. You took it upon yourselves to father every child and husband every woman. Pooch! But you didn't want to marry me, did you, Sheriff? Ooch. You didn't want me as your spouse, did you? Ooch. You sure the fuck didn't want to live with me, did you? Now, when you look at a woman, you think, oh, she's going to be single, might be available. Ooh, possible. Oh, look at that. Do you look at her as if she could be an object of your sexuality? You never thought any lustful thoughts about my own wife, did you? Now, I'm going to want you to remove your fraud. I'm going to sue every oath of office in this nation. Coach, it seems that you're come to find out family really doesn't see men and women as they are. Pooch. See, every time that we had to, here's the problem. I'm a man. I'm not going to perform sexual favors. I'm not going to suck your dick. Coach, I'm going to sue you and put you in prison for refusing to enforce the laws of the United States. Now, some women, they do almost anything to get what they want. But as a man, I won't do anything to get what I want because I will make sure that the laws get enforced. And in the process of that, I will make sure that you'll fucking find.